a lot of defenses. More important, he's seen a lot of pass rush, and he understands if I look at this pass rush, I'm not going to complete any passes. I got to keep my eyes downfield. I got to feel the rush. I got to trust my protection. I got to trust where guys are going to be on time. And that's all experience. I mean, it's the most important attribute of a high school player is the experience of the speed of a Friday night and what could happen and the unexpected. And I think Nate's done really good making adjustments all year long. I think he's gotten better as the year has gone on. Certainly he has room to grow still, but we're really happy with his progress.
How has the defense made strides from earlier in the season? I think back in particular to that loss against Woodland Hills, and there was no doubt some issues tackling.
Yeah. That's probably the number one thing we've improved upon is our tackling and understanding. We have to wrap. We have to get more than one guy at the ball carrier. And I think that we've just really, really harped on it. We've watched a lot of film of our flaws. And, hopefully we fixed most of those. But that was a definite point of emphasis early in the year that we were not doing as good as we should have. And I think we've really stepped that up over the last 7-8 weeks.
Special teams, you've talked about it. It's been a major focal point. One guy who stood out in a big way is Jack Miller. And I know that Penn Trafford has a pretty good tradition of field goal kickers, especially during some of the best seasons. Certainly seems like he might be next in line with the growth he's shown. So has he become a guy you can count on in any scenario now?
We believe so. He kicked as a freshman. He had some big field goals in some big games as a freshman. This year he hit a 47-yard field goal. We're comfortable with him just outside of 50. He shows it in practice. He can do it. Jack's been consistent and just a guy we'll throw out there in any situation and expect him to make the kick.
Ryan Lynn, the head coach of Moon. You've gone against him many times now. In a WPL championship, you beat them by a field goal. You played them last year at Penn Trafford. It was a one-score victory. You won by a single point earlier this year. So it seems like you and he are always in these close matchups. What is kind of his characteristics of his team with Moon?
Well, I think we're two pretty evenly balanced teams, and I think that's probably their characteristics. We're very similar. We like to run the ball. They like to run the ball. We like to be physical on defense. They like to be physical on defense. I think both teams are good at play action. I think they're terrific at special teams. They always have been. I mean, the year we played at the stadium, I don't remember how many blocked field goals and punts they had, but it was in double digits. It was incredible. So obviously they put a point of emphasis on that. I just think it's two teams that have a lot of respect for each other, two physical teams that like the same style. Now, defensively, they're different than us. They are very aggressive. They play a ton of man-to-man. They definitely want to get in the backfield and wreak havoc. We understand that, and we're a little bit familiar with them, just like they're familiar with us.
So what are the biggest keys to get a victory and move on to the semifinals?
The turnover game is going to be huge. We can't turn it over, and we've got to get some. Both of us are momentum-based teams, and I think that's the biggest swing in high school football is getting turnovers. So we got to be great. Our special teams has to improve dramatically from game one. We nearly lost the game because of special teams in game one. So we've really made that a point of emphasis since that night, to be honest with you. And then our defense has to make them drive the field. No big plays. We want them, if they're going to get points on the board, it's got to be 12, 13 play drives. We don't want to give up cheap ones.
Lastly, it seemed like it became pretty clear down the stretch of the season. You're going to be playing a home game. We didn't know if it'd be first round or quarterfinals. It is in the quarterfinals. How much of an advantage is that to get one final game here at Warrior Stadium?
It's a big deal. We love our crowd. We love our community. They come out and really support us. I think our kids will be energized, especially the seniors, last time they could come out of the locker room and play on this field. We're excited about that. I know they're excited about that. So it's definitely, we love playing at home, let's put it that way.
Well, hopefully there's some home cooking tonight, John. Thanks so much for doing this. I appreciate your time.
Thank you, Sean. Appreciate it.
That is John Ruane, the head coach of Penn Trafford.
State Representative Mike Reese was a great advocate for the kids in our community. He felt athletics were a vital tool in raising healthy, happy kids. The Mike Reese Memorial Fund offers grants to local youth athletic organizations so that every kid has a chance to play. Funding is available for new equipment, registration fee offset, facility improvements, and more. Visit MikeReeseMemorialFund.com to apply.
Play It Again Sports in Greensburg is your locally owned and operated sporting goods store. We set ourselves apart by offering a wide variety of both new and used equipment at competitive prices. Located in the Greengate East Plaza, below Walmart, Play It Again Sports' knowledgeable staff will help you and your family prepare for every athletic season. Whether you're looking to buy, sell, or trade, we are here as your one-stop shop. At Play It Again Sports in Greensburg, everybody plays.
We roll along here on Westmoreland on the Gridiron, of course, powered by Bowser. We appreciate John Ruane for taking the time, although Flick kind of forced him into it and threatened him, and he has no choice. But we do appreciate him talking in what is a very stressful week, I'm sure, for all of these coaches. Let's now look at the other brackets, 4A, 3A, 2A, and 1A, before we hear from Thomas Plone of Jeanette. 4A, we didn't have any Westmoreland County teams in to begin, but we did have some interesting outcomes this past week. It is now semifinals action. This, much like 6A, will be playing the championship at Pine Richland on November 15th. Number 1, McKeesport knocks off Char Valley. That means the Tigers will go against number 4, Thomas Jefferson, as the Jags knock off Mars. So it's 1 versus 4 on one side. And how about this for the upset of the 4A bracket? Number 2, Trinity falls against number 7, Aliquippa, although can you ever say it's truly an upset when the Quips win in the playoffs? Quips knock off the Hillers 21-14, so number 7, Aliquippa, will go against number 3, Newcastle, as the Red Hurricanes just narrowly edge 6-seeded Montour 14-13. McKeesport at TJ, that's a terrific matchup, will be at Chartiers Valley. Aliquippa at Newcastle, that will be at Elwood City High School. Again, these are semifinals in the 4A bracket. In 3A, Westmoreland County teams unfortunately went 0-4-3. Avonworth, the number 1 seed, got a bye, and the Antelopes, who are the heavy favorite to defend their title, they'll go against number 8, Freeport, as the Yellow Jackets knocked off 9-seeded Beaver 35-27. 4-seeded Elizabeth Forward also got a bye, and we'll see the 5th seed North Catholic Trojans because of North Catholic's 56-14 win against Burrow that we talked about. 12-seeded Buccaneers see their season end. Number 2, Amani Christian earns a bye and will play at home at UPMC Graham Field in Wilkinsburg against number 10, Hopewell. That's because the Vikings knocked off number 7, Southmoreland 42-6. And Central Valley, the number 3 seed, will host number 6, Highlands. Of course, the Golden Rams edged number 11, Derry 14-0. This will take place down at Acrisure for the championship. That will be a 5 o'clock kickoff on November 22nd. The 2A bracket is as follows. This one also will take place down at Acrisure on the 22nd. Number 1, Seton LaSalle gets a bye and will host, and when I say host, I mean at Dormont Stadium, number 8, Mohawk. Mohawk edging Our Lady of the Sacred Heart 17-14 in the 8-9 matchup. Number 4, South Allegheny defeats 13-seeded Waynesburg Central 61-13. Gladiators will go against number 5, Washington. The Prexies with a 37-8 victory over Beaver Falls. That matchup will take place at Charleroi High School. Number 2, Western Beaver also gets a bye, and the Golden Eagles will welcome number 7, Apollo Ridge, as the Vikings claimed a 28-7 victory over number 10, Riverside. Getting all choked up talking about this matchup. The Vikings got all 4 of their touchdowns by way of Jaden McCray, who is the son of a former Penn State New Kensington basketball coach, Art McCray. Saw him Saturday at Seton Hill, so maybe the Griffins are looking at young Jaden McCray. Steel Valley, the number 3 seed, gets a bye and will play number 6, Elwood City Wolverines, 35-13 victors over number 11, Keystone Oaks. So once again, semis upcoming a week from now, and the championship will be on the 22nd at Acrisure. And lastly, the Class 1A bracket, where we do have a Westmoreland County team still around. The bracket looks as follows. Number 1, Fort Cherry advances convincingly, 48-14 over 16-seeded Avella. And the Rangers will go against number 9, Neshannock, which won the matchup against number 8, Leechburg, 49-14. That will take place at Beaver Area High School. Number 4, Laurel advances with a 35-0 shutout over 13-seeded Jefferson Morgan. Spartans go against number 12, Chartiers Houston, a big win for the Buccaneers, 26-21 over number 5 Southside Beaver. That matchup in the quarters will take place at West Allegheny. The one that we are focused on, number 2 Clairton, a 50-0 victory over 15 seed at Monessen, another shutout for the Bears. They will face number 10 Jeanette. As we said, the Jayhawks 38-24 victors over 7 seed at Bentworth. 2 versus 10 at Franklin Regional High School in Westmoreland County. Maybe some home cooking for the Jayhawks. And 3rd seed at Bishop Canevin knocks off GCC 50-35. Crusaders will go against number 11 Fraser, which pulled off an upset, defeating 6th seeded California area 27-12. That will be at Canon McMillan High School. Flick, the quadrant that we are focused on, Bears, Jayhawks, we mentioned, it's going to be awfully tough. I think the most important thing that Jeanette could do is score a touchdown in the first quarter. And I know that that is a big challenge, but I do wonder if the Bears gave up a touchdown in the first quarter, especially the first drive, would that kind of get them out of that mindset? Would that get them off their game just enough to at least give a sliver of an opening for the Jayhawks?
You a big Rocky fan?
Yeah. I mean, Rocky 3 probably might have been my favorite because the Hulkster was in it.
Thunderlips.
Yeah.
My favorite was Rocky 4.
Is that Tommy Gun?
No, that's 5. Rocky 4 was Drago, the Russian.
Yeah, he's awesome.
Yeah. And he's still like around here and there. I forget the guy's name now off the top of my head. Anyway, yeah, like Rocky's getting pummeled and all of a sudden he hits him and he cuts him. The Russians cut. And that's something that, Jeanette's not going to doesn't need to draw blood for God's sakes, but like that's something they need to do early. I mean, that's a great point. Just kind of all of a sudden just shock them by scoring a touchdown at the beginning of the game, and then maybe that gets them off their game. I don't know, because, again, they haven't given up a touchdown for so long. Yeah, they need to get off to a great start, do something like that early in order to have a chance in the game. I mean, they've just been so dominant. And we've seen Jeanette Clairton matchups in the past that going into the game, you were toss-ups, or maybe Clairton was slightly favored, maybe Jeanette was slightly favored. You know, this one obviously is kind of a David versus Goliath thing, which Clairton has had over everybody. And again, Jeanette's just going to need to get that quick punch in early.
Two interesting points here. Here's the scoring differential this season for the Bears. Keeping in mind, one of their games was a forfeit. So I don't know if that's a 2-0 victory or whatever it is. They have outscored their opponents 532-19. So they're outscoring their foes by more than 500 points in 10 games that are actually contested on the field this year. It truly is. Second, you and I were together. We weren't able to do broadcasts at the time. It was during the old regime. It was 2020, Martirelli Stadium. Do you remember that day?
I do.
Jeanette just blew out Clairton. Mm-hmm. It was shocking how dominant the Jayhawks were in that championship win.
Yep. That was behind Brad Birch as a freshman.
Yes. It felt like things changed very quickly for Jeanette after that year.
Yeah.
And I also think because the players have moved on for both teams, but Wayne Wade is still around, and it truly feels like he probably remembers that game quite a bit. So I know every time that he goes against Jeanette, I'm sure he's always trying to get the better of another historic program. But truly, I would say 2 of maybe the top 5 programs in WPIAL history. Is that a fair assessment, Clairton and Jeanette?
Sure, I think so. I mean, we could name some of the others. Obviously,
Aliquippa's in there.
Yeah,
but I mean, it's tough to top these schools.
Yeah, no, I agree with that. And that's why, man, like, you know, if they were a little bit more, and again, I'm not saying we're not giving Jeanette a chance here, but I just wish that it was, you know, kind of back then, even before then, you know, that they were, when Jeanette played, was it Amani Christian in the Whippeal Championship back? They had to
Robert Morris.
They had to beat Clairton to get there, and I think they lost to them in the regular season and then beat them in the playoffs. And I remember Roy Hall saying, you know, I didn't just get a monkey off my back. I forget what his comment was.
Did he get a gorilla?
Was it a gorilla? Yeah, I think that's what it was. Yeah, I got a gorilla.
That's a Steve Young line there. There we go.
Oh, I didn't know that. You would know that. Niners
Steve
fan.
Young, one of my favorites. Yeah.
Yeah. So
I think that the history of the schools kind of sells itself, and I will be curious because there's no doubt Clareton's heavy favorites. Can Jeanette challenge them at least a little bit and put some game pressure on them, because that's something that the Bears have not dealt with really for a long, long time this season. But doesn't matter what you and I think, Flick. What matters is what Thomas Pallone thinks, the head coach at Jeanette. Let's now hear from Tom Pallone talking Jayhawks and Bears. First off, Thomas, congrats. A big win against Bentworth, an upset win, at least based on the seeding, as you knock off the Bearcats 38-24 in the opening round. So what were the biggest takeaways? What did you like most about your team's performance in that victory?
Just overcoming the environment. I thought, early in that game, Bentworth came out and they fought us pretty good, and we kind of responded to it. It's tough to be the road playoff team, and our guys hung in there and eventually cracked the game open with a block punt touchdown, and to go up 38-17 was a big turning point. So they just hung in there and fought every quarter with some grit and got the victory.
You talk about that special team score, but it really seemed like the fourth quarter as a whole, your team pulled away. It was a tie game heading into the final quarter, and then you were pretty clearly better. So was there anything in particular that changed on your side?
Just those big moments on special teams, with the block punt, after, we tried to kick a surprise sky kick. We recovered the ball and it got called back on an inadvertent whistle. We thought that fired our team up. We go on defense 3 and out, then we block the punt and Sunder scoops and scores it. So, I thought that was a big turning point, and just to give us the confidence to put the game away, and that obviously changed their play calling. They're more of a running team, and going down with that many points that late, they had to go to the air. So I thought our guys adjusted well and put the game away in that moment.
And their star player, Ben Hayes, he still made an impact. He still had a good game, but he didn't take over the game like he typically does for them. So what did your defense do well to contain him?
Just swarmed to the ball. I think our goal was to hold him under 60. I think he had 79 on offense. He did have a big kick return, which hurt. It's hard not to make steel kick deep. Then when he doesn't reach the end zone, it goes right to him. But that's more my fault than his. But our defense just really played gap integrity, and they got us on some runs, and the adjustments were great by our staff, and the kids were receptive to it. So, I think our kids did a great job, just getting them on the ground.
On the other side, Kimani and Jace Powell have been your two big stars all season, and they were good again. But 5 different players scored touchdowns, not necessarily all on offense, but when you can have that many different guys contributing, get into the end zone, I would imagine it's really a welcome sight. So how was that a big asset in that victory?
Huge, just multiple guys stepping up, and we pride ourselves on trying to spread it around, and there's not just one thread on that offense, there's multiple. So obviously Jason Kamani drive the engine most of the time because they're just superior athletes. But, it's awesome to see, our guys clicking on all cylinders in all 3 phases.
Does it feel different when you're in the playoffs? Is it something that is, evident when you're out there on the field? Is it something that you notice in the intensity for the players changes as well?
It does. It just seems like, every snap matters, especially with practice this week. We're going to be practicing under the lights now. It's November. Not everybody's practicing. There's 3 Westmoreland County teams practicing this week, Norwin, PT, and us. So it is surreal. It's different feel, just to feel the environment every Friday in the stadium, and to see college basketball tipping off this week. It's just a different feel, off and on. You truly feel like you're week to week, and today's the only day that matters.
Is there some knack that you and your team has of getting postseason upset victories? Because you did it a couple of times last year as well, and you do it again this year. And as you mentioned, there's not many teams in our area who are still playing football.
Sure, we kind of took on that mentality, especially after last year. We felt like we maybe got disrespected in the seedings, but we felt it was a very winnable game going to Bentworth. And credit them. I mean, they're a great team. They had 9 or 8 wins. So I just think we just put that chip on our shoulder, and like we just talked about, it's literally week to week. And I think this group really enjoys being with each other. So we wanted to make sure that we had that extra week and qualified for the quarterfinal.
Well, now your team has 8 wins, and we talked about the postseason upsets. I would think that this would be the biggest upset, certainly by far, compared to the previous 3 postseason victories over the last couple of years. You go against Clareton, and not only are they winning games convincingly, they've not allowed a point since week 0. It's truly one of the more remarkable streaks that I remember seeing. So how do you find some way to do what no team has been able to do for 10 weeks now?
Sure. Just get an ultra focused game plan together, which I think we have as a staff. And, I think focusing on what we can do and not what can't we do. There's plenty of stuff that we can't do against Clarendon. But there's some stuff that we think we can do. And obviously that comes down to our players executing on Friday. And yes, they have some superior talent and that's great. But it really just comes down to what we can do and really sticking together quarter by quarter, staying in it, after quarter 1, after quarter 2, after quarter 3, and look up at quarter 4 to see if we're within striking distance. So, it's just, again, just focusing on the cans, not the can'ts, and just grinding this thing out and competing, right? We're competitors. We're from Jeanette. We want to go against the best. This is a blessing to go against the top team in the WPIAL, top team in the state. So, we can't lose sight of that.
So you've already played them once. I know that did not go the way you wanted. Do you take a lot from that game? Do you revisit? Do you look at the film, or do you kind of, turn the page, wipe the slate clean, and say, let's not worry about what happened at prior meeting?
Yeah, I think this puts us in a unique situation, Sean, because I think the first time we played them, after the first quarter it was 15-0. Then it got out of hand the second quarter. Then, in the back of our minds, we did have Gridiron Central the following week, and we knew that was a game definitely we wanted to win. So when things got out of reach, we kind of pivoted to protecting our guys. So, in this case, there is no next week. And, I think that there's some things that we did that first game that we can't do this game. So, yeah, I think that tape was very telling on where to start with the game plan. And I think we took away a lot. And I think you'll see a different strategy this time around for the Jayhawks going against Clarendon, but definitely took a lot away from the first meeting.
Lastly, I know that this is a conference opponent, a team that has a championship history that's right up there with Jeanette's. Obviously, these are 2 of the most storied programs in WPIAL history. Does it feel special when you see Jeanette and Clareton lining up against one another?
Yeah, definitely. Like you said, 2 of the premier small schools, not at the schools with the most resources, that maybe some of the 6As have, but just the history, just the star power that's come from both programs, the Tyler Boyds of the world, the Terrell Pryors of the world, and guys that are under him that, that wouldn't get as much recognition, like the Aaron Matthews of the world, who went on and had a great career at Pitt, and Wade, who went up to Penn State, and of course our guys, Jordan Hall in recent years went to Ohio State, that might not get the ink that Pryor does, and different guys going on to play for different programs. So yeah, it's special, seeing these 2 programs go at it, and I'm glad to be a part of it one Friday night.
Well, Thomas, congrats on the postseason victory. I know that you understand how special that is, and good luck this Friday against the Bears.
Yeah, thanks, Sean.
And we appreciate Thomas Pallone for taking the time, as always, in what is a very big and stressful week for high school football coaches. Well, that's basically it for the WPIAL playoffs. We do not have Seton Hill football this week either. The Griffins, they've got a bye week, open week, whatever. It's not ideal that it's this late in the season because they only have one game out of it's. It's a crossover matchup. So
second to last game of the year, or second to last week of the year.
It's a little bizarre to have it. You would much rather have it like mid-season. Nonetheless, they are not playing this week. However, St. Vincent is playing at Waynesburg. Bearcats 2-6. They are 1-5 in the PAC. Waynesburg is 3-6, 3-4. That will be a 1:00 kickoff on Saturday. All right, Flick, final thoughts, whether that's promoting our broadcast or anything else you want to touch on before we put a bow on what could be, depending on outcomes, our final Westmoreland on the Gridiron of 2025.
Well, first of all, sir, I just want to wish you a belated happy birthday.
Thank you.
Sean turned 29 earlier this week. Mm-hmm. So happy birthday.
And listen, this is 100% serious. The fact that the Penn Trafford football Facebook did something was completely unexpected. I don't know who runs that. I don't even know how they knew that it was my
I
birthday.
think Rush does, but I'm not sure.
But that was really cool. And then a lot of people commented on that as well, including Vince DiAugustine.
He did. I was just talking to him about you. I don't know why you came up, and he's like, "That's my man." So I think he loves the fan. So
he does.
He doesn't love WSN. He loves the fan.
Yeah. But anyway, that was awesome that they did that for me. So that was completely unexpected.
And I know Rush is a huge follower of our broadcast and of the show, so he's probably watching right now. Hi, Rush. We'll see you on Friday, buddy. Yeah, I mean, this is really exciting this weekend. Obviously, we got you mentioned a free game, and these are things that we need to kind of manage behind the scenes and things of that nature. But Penn Trafford and Moon, the atmosphere should be great at Penn Trafford. Playoff game at home, really cool. We'll also be broadcasting Norwin and North Allegheny. That will be streamed to NFHS Network. Because it's a semifinal game, we have to stream it to NFHS. And then, again, for that Jeanette Clareton game, it has to be an audio-only game. I could get into all the specifics, but that'll take another show. So that's audio only on Friday night, but Brent and Anthony will be back in the saddle to broadcast that game for you. So it's really nice to be able to broadcast these playoff games. Again, we have to be a little bit creative with certain things, but should be a lot of fun to see how everything kind of plays out on Friday night.
And just full disclosure, it's going to depend on how our Westmoreland County teams do as far as whether or not we're going to do another show. If all three of them win, we probably got to do it because we're talking about Norwood playing for a championship. We're talking about PT playing against Pine Richland. We're talking about Jeanette with the upset of the year potentially. So that would be great. Fingers crossed. If things maybe go the other direction, obviously we're not probably going to be back for another week. So we'll see how it plays out.
But
fingers crossed that our teams do well.
But Sean, even if we do not have a show next week, I'm sure, let's say, I don't know, two of the teams win or something. I'm sure you will be interviewing the coaches, and we'll put them up on our YouTube channel.
That's
People
right.
can check them out on our social media pages as well for the link to watch those previews. So it's not like we're just saying no Gridiron, we're done. We're not previewing anything. We're still going to be
doing the article previewing the games.
The article
all of them
and
that remain as well. So
yep, yes, sir.
All right. Well, that will do it for this edition. We'll see if we're back next week. But for now, we will put a bow on this one for my colleague and good pal Dan Flickinger. Sean Myers signing off. This has been the special playoff edition, part 2 of Westmoreland on the Gridiron, powered by Bausch.
Good night, everybody.